evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock and time to call to order this November 5th, 2019 meeting of the Gallatin City Council. We'll begin this meeting like we do every meeting with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. This evening, Councilman Alexander will offer the invocation and Councilman Fennell will lead us in the pledge. If you'd stand with me, please.
Let every heart pray. Eternal gracious God, we come once again with thanksgiving in our hearts. We thank you, dear Lord, for this blessed day that Thou hast created. We thank you for the city and the council and all that we stand for. We pray, oh God, that everything we do in this meeting tonight will be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we do pray. And every heart said, amen.
Place flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Kittrell will call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Camp.
Present.
Mr. Alexander.
Present.
Mr. Fan.
Here.
Mr. Fennell.
Here.
Mr. Hayes.
Present.
Ms. Love. Here. And Mr. Overton.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Before you now, you have the minutes from October 15th, 2019 City Council meeting. I have a motion to approve by Councilman Overton, a second by Councilman Hayes. Any corrections or additions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. We're moving now to public recognition on agenda-related items. This is the time of the meeting that anyone can come forward and speak to any item that's on this evening's agenda. There will also be a time at the end of the meeting where you can speak to items that are not on the agenda. I'll also tell you that there are several public hearings tonight. There are 3 related to the Meadows, which is the development on Dobbins Pike. There is a plan of service, an annexation, and a rezoning related to the Meadows public hearing. There's also a public hearing related to a preliminary master development plan for Butler Properties Retail on Davis Drive and Nashville Pike. So it would be appropriate to speak to those during the public hearing time. There is also a public hearing on the preliminary master development plan for Patriot Angels on Harris Lane, and one for rezoning for Appalachian Pipeline. So that's the list of public hearings tonight, but right now, public recognition on agenda-related items is now open. We ask that you come to the mic, introduce yourself, give us your address, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Dave Dozier. I reside at 567 Dobbins Pike, and I stand here in opposition to the Meadows development. First, I want to say, Mayor, members of the council, as always, thank you for your service. Very much respect you, and I appreciate the position you're in. You cannot make everybody happy, and we understand that. But I thank you for your willingness to hear our concerns tonight. As you know, there's been multiple attempts over the past probably 12 to 15 years to develop this property. All of those have failed. One actually failed before this body several years ago. And now we have 1,100 homes planned for that site. Not 200 or 300, but 1,100 homes. Just stop for a second and think about that many homes in that area, any area of Gallatin, and what it's going to do to our city, especially in that rural area. Some concerns I'd like to voice quickly. Number one, this is a very high-density proposal. It will absolutely ruin the rural area that's there, the beautiful area that's there. It will devalue our properties. I'm on 11 beautiful acres. Many of my neighbors, some are here tonight, they have similar property. Just a tremendously beautiful area. We live there because we like big lots. You've heard before other folks speak about the fact people like postage stamp lots. Some do, but they don't live out there. They like big lots, and we like big lots and out in the country. It will destroy our way of life that's out there now. We live in the rural area because we choose to be there, as many others do. There are many that are building and buying large lots out that way. You can go north up Dobbins Pike, and you'll see that. So they're still in demand. This development of 1,100 lots simply does not fit into that area. Number two, I'd like to mention Dobbins Pike itself. It's already a very dangerous road. We've had multiple crashes there. There's a curve at Gibbs Lane. You've heard a lot about that. Increased traffic going north as more building is taking place north of that area. There's estimates of dumping another 2,000 cars on this road. Folks, have you ever been up Dobbins Pike going back into the city about 8 o'clock in the morning? It's already jammed up. Where are we going to put 2,000 more cars? Have we actually thought through this development, what it'll do? I read through the resolution earlier today online, and part of the proposal, it speaks about putting turning lanes on Dobbins Pike. That's what we need to do if this development is approved. But a lot more needs to be done. There's no mention that I saw in the resolution about any other plans for Dobbins Pike. My daughter lives over in Grandview. My 2 grandchildren make their way up Gibbs Lane into the curve on Dobbins Pike, and they come over to our house quite often. And my wife and my son, who's also a landowner out there, we drive up and down Dobbins Pike. How many people have to be injured or killed until we see that we've got a problem if we put that development there? Are we actually going to load this much traffic on top of what we already have? A turning lane on Dobbins Pike will not provide what is needed in that area, and the bridge to be built over the railroad track, it may occur, but I highly doubt that that will ever happen. The larger issue, look at our beautiful city. I love Gallatin. I love Sumner County. We have jammed this city up, folks, and I know it's a challenge to each of you. Even our good mayor has mentioned about the growth and concerns in Gallatin and Sumner County. We've got to be careful about what we're doing. Can we support the infrastructure, the schools, if we put this thing in place? We're also taxing people to death, and it's getting worse. We've heard our county commissioners here. How much more do we have to pull out of our taxpayers to pay for this growth? Let's slow it down and control it. Lastly, I want to mention many here tonight have been under the impression that a detailed plan for building duplexes was presented to the county by the landowner and her representatives. If this were the case, it might force this council's hand to move forward with this project and annex the property, as opposed to allowing duplexes to be built out in that area under the county's oversight with little or no control. We understand that. In other words, as a council, we'd rather have control of the development as opposed to allowing several duplexes to be built with little control and restrictions. As a landowner, I can understand that. However, recent information from the county, it does confirm that the planning office has not received an active application from the landowner. That has not occurred to my understanding. As we understand it, the request was simply to clarify intent of the county zoning code. As such, I strongly urge this body to please not be held hostage when you hear these type of things. Let's take a step at a time. Let's work through the process as it needs to be done. We have to act now to control growth in this county, in this city. My neighbors and I, we're landowners. We oppose this. So members of the council, I simply urge you to please vote this down. Let's step back and look at how we're managing growth in this county and this city. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Dozier.
Hi, my name is Russ Renier. I live at 199 Renier Lane, Gallatin. I live and own property across the railroad track from the Meadows property, or the Meadows plan development. Two of my neighbors and I have a PUD, planned unit development, approved through Sumner County. I would like to coordinate with the Meadows development and with the city of Gallatin concerning the connection or the connector road and access to Highway 109. I'm going to put my glasses on because I'm making up my words here if I don't. Yeah, I'm not good at that. So anyway, the 2035 Comprehensive Plan for Sumner County's Blueprint for the Future has my property designated as highway services as a land use, and that's for the county. The PUD is approved commercial zoning by Sumner County. My neighbors and I have about 65 acres maybe in that PUD. There's 3 of us involved in that. So we have a plan to develop that property. But, you know, it hasn't happened yet, but that's our plan. It has happened a little bit. My neighbor has a commercial property now that he's built. He leases it out now. And, so it's starting. So growth is happening, and it's probably a good idea to plan for it. And I think Gallatin and Sumner County are planning for it. I ask you to vote on the Meadows, yes on the Meadows project. I love living in Sumner County and Gallatin. I work in Nashville. Hope you don't hold that against me. But I love my job there too. And like I say, I'm planning to develop the property, and so I'd like to see the meadows approved. And the way I understand it, there's a Meadowbrook or Meadow, whatever it's called, Boulevard, kind of planned to go through there. And I'd like to see that happen. I think the city and the county need that to happen, just to bring traffic around Gallatin instead of through the middle of Gallatin. And I work for TDOT, actually, and so I've got some ideas on roads a little bit. It's actually what I do for a living, road planner, and I know there has to be some coordination with TDOT to do any connection in there, and I don't think that's really been looked into so much as far as I know. Maybe it has. I'm a low man on the totem pole there, but I haven't heard anything on it. But I know who to talk to, and I'm going to plan on doing that, to talk to them and see that things start getting coordinated on that. Do the best of my ability to do that, to kind of see if the ball can get rolling and to keep it rolling. Because like I say, I do work with people that do that kind of thing. And I'd like for you to vote yes. And it's going to take a lot of planning, I believe, to get a road through there. Whether it's who's involved in it, I believe everybody's going to have to be involved in it before it's all said and done. But please vote yes.
I'm Leanna Thomas. I live at 902 Wallace Road in Gallatin. And I guess that I will continue to speak as many times as the Meadows becomes before you. I considered a lot of things to talk about tonight, and I had a really hard time to think about what would be the most appropriate thing to say. But disappointment was the thing that I felt the most of. Last week, we were told by a couple of people that there was a duplex plan that had been submitted, and that is in fact false. And that was presented to us as a fact. So, disappointment is what I feel from the two people that told us that. What I would ask you to do is to consider what you're doing and why you would say that to citizens when it's untrue. I would ask that you come to our area, that you drive those little roads, that you look at the beautiful trees that we have right now because it's beautiful, that you consider what you're doing if you were to vote yes, because you would change the complete character of the area. This is not in line with the remaining properties if this were to be something that you did. And there would be property that would be in between, that would be city and property that would be county. What are you going to do when the people who still live in the county want to still shoot their guns? And there's people now in the city in between the county. That's going to be a problem. There are lots of problems with doing that. It's kind of like spot zoning. It doesn't really go well. I would ask that you come out and take a visit. I would love to take you for a visit. Most of you know how to find me, and I would be more than happy to do that. I would ask that you consider all of the months, weeks, actually the last year that we've been coming before you, and all of the many reasons that we are asking that you vote no on the Meadows. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Hi, my name is Sandra Cohen. I'm at 304 University Drive in Gallatin. When a city council is elected to serve a place like Gallatin, particularly in the midst of extreme growth that's going on here, the council has only one job to do, and that job is don't kill the goose that laid the golden egg. And in this case, the goose is Gallatin. The golden egg is made up of all the reasons that people want to live here. And two of the most important reasons that people stay here or move to Gallatin are its small town charm and its natural beauty, both of which the city government and greater populace have worked hand in hand to maintain over the years. Your predecessors to this council knew that, and they understood that in their positions. And those are the very reasons that strategic plans were written and published in the first place, to preserve the quality of life that your predecessors handed over to its residents. Now, this one job, the don't kill the goose job, is in the hands of you members of this city council. And history will judge you on the condition of the Gallatin goose when your tenure is up. The minute we overpopulate, the consequence will be an overload on Gallatin's ability to keep up with and fulfill the needs and demands of the populace, regardless of whether it's an economic issue or a quality of life issue. The minute that this city ceases to be a beacon of what has been passed to you by your previous councils is when that goose will die. Your predecessors left you with a pretty clear map of how to do it right, how to be the place that everyone wants to emulate, and why the populace wants to live here. If you have not thought about that map of what Gallatin was when you came on board as a member of the council, perhaps you should take stock of that. Think about it. I believe 4 of you were in attendance just a week ago when Mayor Brown hosted a very interesting evening on how to guide our city through the growing pains and how to do it right. Having worked for several years with a residential development and construction company, I enjoyed the evening, and I left wishing that the entire council had attended, and a bit hopeful that those who did attend were imbued with a broader vision of what you should be considering and doing when you are asked to approve the superfluity of housing developments that have been coming before you. In this presentation, there was a lot of talk and many slides illustrating the right way to handle growth in a city such as Gallatin. And frankly, I was actually frightened to see the slide that illustrated sprawl, a very dirty development word, which is exactly what you want to avoid, sprawl. The development plans featured in that sprawl slide, the how not to do it slide, easily could have been the plans for the meadows as currently designed. The plans that you are about to vote for for the second time. You're going to vote on them, hopefully not for them, the second time. Will Gallatin remain the genteel community that it is now? And can it continue to be that? Or will your vote help to erode the strides that were achieved by those before you? You as a council have been entrusted with the safe guidance of this beautiful, vibrant, small city. You were elected to watch over, guide, and protect the quality of life in Gallatin. When you leave office, will you leave with the sounds of an electorate that is satisfied with your understanding of size, design, space, and location of services? With its placement so close to downtown, I find it difficult to even consider the Meadows plans as currently presented. They easily could compromise that part of the city which is already struggling to maintain its important and historical character. It's my opinion that any discussion on the Meadows is remiss if it does not also consider how you want your central core to function in the future. So at this very moment, Gallatin stands at a critical crossroads. Do you really want your names etched in the history under the title, How Not to Govern, How to Overexploit, or How to Destroy the Successes Your Predecessors Worked So Hard to Attain, and which is your central job to maintain? Is that the legacy that you want for yourselves? We're asking you to please put a stop to all of this churning out developments without truly understanding what they will and will not bring to this city, depending on whether or not they are within a framework of how we all want Gallatin to be going forward. Please work with the developer, to rethink, replan, and redesign what could be a wonderful precursor to Gallatin's next stage of growth if it's done right. If you approve the plans as they currently stand, you truly will be announcing yourselves as part of the problem. Thank you.
If there's anyone else wishing to speak under public comment, I'd ask that you come forward so that we'll know that you're waiting to speak.
And you know I wouldn't pass up the opportunity. Thank you very much for letting us come again. My name's Tanya Dozier, 567 Dobbins Pike. As all of you know, I'm very much opposed to this. And you know all the reasons why. You've heard them 1,000 times from Planning Commission to tonight. I am shaking like a leaf because I just am so disappointed in some people. And so I'm going to ask you to please, once again, do not annex this land, do not rezone it, do not provide your public services out there. You know it's going to change the whole area out there. You know what it's going to do. And just like what I had said, we're already hearing people that are already wanting to come forward and get their land rezoned and annexed so they can develop theirs. And everybody's got a price, as Mr. McCord said. Who's going to be the next one? You know, who's going to be approached by some developer to, yes, he did, to come and buy their land? It's just going to snowball. And we know it is. We already know, sure, that there are plans already in place for things. And it's amazing to me that the person that wants their land rezoned and annexed doesn't have to come before you and beg like we do. That land's already zoned. They bought it, it was already zoned with a certain zoning and what they could build on it and could have all along. But all of us who live around it and are going to be affected by it are not going to make any money off of it. We don't want to make money off of it. It's where we live. Are having to stand before you and make fools of ourselves, as some people tell us, begging you to please don't annex this and rezone this land and come out there and change it because of a person who owns a piece of land that is encircled by county land. It just blows my mind. Can't believe it. But you've already voted for it once. And I'm afraid there were some minds that were made up from the very beginning. Way back Planning Commission time, I'm sure. And us standing up here hadn't made a bit of difference. And you have no idea what it takes for us to get up here and stand before you. Now, it doesn't bother my husband one bit. But it does me and a lot of these other folks. We're not public speakers. We're not politicians that can put yourself out there. It takes an ability to do that. We have to get up here and beg you to please don't do this. Please don't change that area because a person wants to develop it and make a whole lot of money off of it. And we understand that. But that one person is going to affect all of us around it. And they're not going to have to deal with it. No, none of y'all are going to have to deal with it. You don't live out through there because you're in the city. We're in the county. And, you know, she brought up a good point about the guns. We're in the county, so I hadn't even thought about that. We're in the county, so my brother-in-law can come up, as he does on occasion, and do target shooting on our property because that's my husband and I ask him to be sure. Are you sure we're not breaking the law? No, we can do that. But he can't do that when you build back there because phase 1 is right behind my house. And you can't get out there and do that then if you've got any consideration about you. So we're going to be affected in a lot of ways that people hadn't even thought about. Some don't care about. Because this person wants to do this, and that's what we're going to do. It's just amazing. Amazing. So I just ask you one more time. Please don't annex it. Please don't rezone it. And if they want to come, they could come build. They could have done it all along. Like I said before, we're not scared. Okay, 300 duplexes is better than 1,115 houses times 2 cars. Guy pulled out in front of me on Dobbins Pike just a few days ago. I was on my way into work that morning. He never stopped. He never stopped for that stop sign.
Ms.
He
Dozier,
just
I'm
come
sorry,
right
your
on out.
time is up.
Well, that's just one case. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak under public recognition on agenda-related items this evening? Okay, seeing no one, I will declare public recognition on agenda-related items closed. Moving us now to mayor's comments. I do have several things to cover this evening, but I will move quickly because we do have a long agenda. First, I do want to say a huge thanks on behalf of the police department primarily, but a huge thanks for the outpouring of concern for our police officer who was injured last week. I do want to tell you that he is improving. He's still in the hospital, but he also appreciates the community that has shown such care and support for he and his family. So I want to extend those thoughts to you. Also want to tell you this evening that Ms. Cohen mentioned the planned Gallatin meeting last week. It was not as well attended as I would have liked, but I certainly do appreciate the citizens who came and participated and the department heads and the council who were able to be there that night. It was a good night and there was good information. It was a very informative meeting and a very expert speaker providing information for us. The trick-or-treat last week on the square went very well. Not the best weather we've ever had, but there were still plenty of children out trick-or-treating. Also wanted to mention to you that I hope you saw, I think it was on Sunday, Maddox Pritchard on Shark Tank, our young Gallatin resident who got to deal with the sharks, which was exciting. For this council, those of you who were elected last year, myself included, utility certificates of compliance, utility training certificates of compliance, you can get those to Angela in the mayor's office, and she will keep track of those for us, at least for the near future, and we'll make sure that we have all that we're supposed to have. Also want to mention that I do have the no soliciting stickers. If anyone's here tonight that would like one, I have plenty up here. You may get one from me before you leave, but these are available for anyone who is not here this evening. You can sign up online on our Do Not Solicit registry, and you can get a sticker if you so desire to put on your window at your home. If you have the window sticker, no one should be able to solicit, our city attorney says, so you can do that. A few events coming up. One would be Miss High McCauley's birthday this Saturday. We also have the Mary Market at the Farmers Market. That's the Junior Service League. That's happening from 10 until 3. Veterans Day Parade is happening this Saturday. It starts at the football stadium parking lot and goes to Gallatin High School. That's at 10 a.m. On Saturday and Sunday this weekend, it's the annual Holiday Tinsel and Treasures Open House, and I understand they have a lot of participants this year, and so you can find information online about all the participating stores in Gallatin, and I would encourage you to go out and shop. It's certainly a way to get into the Christmas spirit, and everybody really does go all out to make that a great event for all who visit their stores and come to visit our city for that. And then on Monday, it is Veterans Day. Most city offices will be closed. The police department will be having their Shop with the Cop golf tournament on Monday, but I think they are full field at this point. He says yes. And then the last thing I would mention, on the 16th of November is the Christmas Harvest Craft Show at the Civic Center Gymnasium. I might should go ahead and mention the Miracle Creek, because we won't meet again in a televised meeting until after this, but we are doing the groundbreaking for the Miracle Park on the 26th at 10 a.m. So I think that would conclude my comments for the evening, and we'll move now into the regular agenda. And we'll begin with item 1, which is a public hearing on resolution R1908-44, and for that, Councilman Alexander is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, adopting a plan of service for the annexation of 4 partial tax map 104, partial 022.10, and also 025.00, and 026.00, and 027.00, consisting of 384.64 plus or minus acre, located west of Dobbin Pike, north and west of Gibbs Lane, and east of the CSX Railroad, and providing for the effective date. And this is the public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is now open on Resolution R190844. You may come forward at this time if you wish to speak. Again, it's like the public comment. You introduce yourself, give us your address, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak. So public hearing is now open. Okay, I see no one indicating that they wish to speak, so we will declare public hearing closed. Move to item 2, public hearing on Resolution R1908-45. Councilman Alexander again.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, annexing 4 partial tax map 104, partial 022.10, and 025.00, and 026.00, and 027.00, consisting of 384.64 plus or minus acres, located west of Dobbin Pike, north and west of Gibbs Lane, and east of the CSX Railroad, and to the City of Gallatin, authorizing the annex partial to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, authorizing the assignment of annex area to a council district, repealing a conflict ordinance, and providing for servability, and providing for an effective date. And this is a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is now open on Resolution R1908-45, and someone is coming forward. If there's anyone else like to speak on this, you may also come forward and be prepared to speak. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Pascal Chauvin, 1335 Longolo Park. And Madam Mayor, if you don't understand something I say, please cut me off and I will try to make it better. First, I wanted to thank you, Madam Mayor, again for your State of the City, where you actually made a really interesting comment that the city was growing too fast. I think that applies perfectly here at the Meadows, and it would be nice if the City Council was listening to the number 1 of the city, the mayor. Another thing, I think you guys are good. When you want something, you're going to make it happen. I read some of the verbiage on the resolution, who basically can let you annex that property after a certain amount of time with just some right-of-ways, who basically let you go around the county interlocal agreement, I think you call that. If the county doesn't want to play ball, you have time and you can find a way to go around that to make it happen. So there were a lot of good speech. It's hard to follow. People listen. People get involved a little more. And you mentioned the attendance last week was not great, and I think maybe I should tell you something that maybe the citizens think that their voice doesn't matter. That's probably why they don't show to these meetings. It would be great for everybody. Again, too much growth, too many people on the road, the usual, the bridge. We were at the meeting yesterday, and there was another 700 houses on the park to get approved. When are we going to stop? Madam Mayor, you're right, the city is growing too fast. Put a stop to it, just wait, breathe, and let's wait. The values, like another citizen said, that's going to impact the values, and that's already impacting the values of our property. I looked at the value of my property, my main property every month. I keep the same parameter every month, and this month between October and November, we lost $65,000 on the value. That's going down, so something needs to be done. We pay more taxes. The county up the taxes and we're losing value. So please breathe, take a break. Let's see what's happening. This property is not going to be developed. Jimmy, you told us that. You think that's not going to be developed. It's just a matter of control by the city. Forget the control. You know, we don't need that. I don't think we can support it. So, again, breathe, wait, and let's concentrate on more important things than just annexing a big, giant piece of land who's not fitting here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Javance. Anyone else wish to speak on this public hearing? Seeing no one, I will declare public hearing on Resolution R1908-45 closed. Moving now to item 3, which is public hearing on ordinance 01908-40. Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. This order of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning 4 parcel totaling 384.64 plus or minus acres, tax map 104, partial 22.10, 2500, 2600, and 2700 for the R40 Low Density Residential District and the Sumner County R1A Single Family Residential District to the MU Mixed Use District, the R20 PRD Low Density Residential Plan Residential, and the R15 PRD Medium Density Residential Plan Residential District, the R10 PRD Medium Density Residential Plan Residential District, and the R8 PRD Medium Density Residential Plan Residential District with a preliminary master plan for the meadows located west of Dobbin Pike and north and west of Gibbs Lane and east of the CSX Railroad. Authorize the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflict ordinance, providing for servability, and providing for an effective date. Public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is now open on ordinance 01908-40. If you'd like to come forward and speak, you're welcome to do so at this time. I see no one indicating that they wish to speak, so I'll declare public hearing on ordinance 01908-40 closed. We now move to item 4, which is public hearing on ordinance 01910-50. Councilman Overton.
Thank you, Mayor. This order, City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, approving the preliminary master development plan for Butler Properties Retail on 3 lots, tax map 126P, Group A, parcel 22.00, 23.00, and 24.00, totaling 2.89 acres, located south of Nashville Pike, west of Davis Drive, and east of Belvedere. Authorizing revisions to be indicated on official zoning atlas, repealing conflict of ordinance, and providing for an effective date. And this is a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing on ordinance 01910-50 is now open. You may come forward and speak at this time if you desire.
My name is Nathan Lee. I live at 1116 Moss Circle, and that's the property that backs up to this development with Butler Properties. The only thing I just wanted to say, and we've been talking with some of the council members already, but just wanted to reiterate, definitely I'm pro-growth. I think it's going to be pretty cool, you know, to have some restaurants and stuff like that, you know, with easy access to. The only thing I'm really concerned about is I do have small kids, and just want to reiterate the wall. I would really like that to be continuous, not on the side that's being developed right now with the Payne property, but a wall that is substantial and continuing from where Fifth Third Bank is right now, and just to have that safety. I have some small kids. I'm a foster parent, and so we constantly have children. Right now we have a 1- and 2-year-old, and so in addition to multiple other kids that we house in our home for surrounding communities, and just safety is always an issue. And so something that is 6 foot or below, to me, it just, I feel is unacceptable and safe when, you know, if something happens, especially considering with what happened back in the neighborhood this past week with the violence that happened with the murder. So I'm always thinking about safety, but then also too with the noise and kind of like my little property back there, and I haven't seen plans as far as lighting goes. Just would like to state for the record that lighting, sound, the wall for safety, and that's all I'm concerned about. But definitely pro-growth, and thank you for some of you guys being open about the plans there, and some of the city engineers and even the Butler developer or the designer being open with us and coming by and looking at what we've got there going. But thank you. Go Cats.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in this public hearing? If not, public hearing on ordinance 01910-50 is closed. Item 5 is public hearing on ordinance 01910-52. Councilman Overton.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the ordinance, City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, approving the preliminary master development plan for Patriot Angels on 2 parcels, tax map 125, parcels 48-00 and 47-00, totaling 45.9 acres, located north of Harris Lane and east of Greenlee Boulevard. Authorize the revisions to be indicated on official zoning atlas, repealing conflict of ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And this is a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing on ordinance 01910-52 is open now. You may come forward at this time if you wish to speak. Okay, I see no one indicating they wish to speak. We will declare public hearing on ordinance 01910, okay, he's going another direction, 10-52 closed. Item 6 is public hearing on ordinance 01910-53. Councilman Overton.
Alexander.
I'm sorry, Alexander.
We do
Sorry.
favor a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, y'all look so much alike.
This is an order of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezone a 2.32 plus or minus acre partial from R10 medium density residential district to the MRO multiple residential and office district with a preliminary master development plan for Appalachian Pipeline located at 901 Long Hollow Pipe, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflict orders, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Public hearing.
Sorry.
I just finished.
Sorry. Got too many things going here. Stop it, stop it.
I had to read a little fast, I guess.
You did fine. Okay, public hearing on ordinance 01910-53 is open now. Anyone wish to speak? Okay, I see no one, so I'll declare public hearing on ordinance 01910-53 closed. That concludes the public hearings for the evening, and we will move now into some other items. So item 7 is second reading on ordinance 01910-51, and Councilman Fennell is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance appropriating funds for the sale of trucks for the building department, an amount of $4,760. Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, a second by, was it you, Vice Mayor Camp? Or Councilman Overton, I'm sorry. Motion and second, any discussion? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 01910-51. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It passes unanimously. Item 8 is second reading on ordinance 01910-54, and Vice Mayor Camp is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance appropriating $34,465 for a new building code position. So moved.
Motion by Vice Mayor Camp, second by Councilman Alexander. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 01910-54. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Does pass unanimously. Item 9 is first reading on ordinance 01910-55. Councilman Fan.
This is an ordinance appropriating $133,790 from Miracle Park Donation Revenue Fund to Miracle Park Expense Fund. Also moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Hayes. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is first reading on ordinance 01910-55. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 10 is resolution R1910-57. Councilwoman Love.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution approving the use of a state right-of-way maintained by the city and approving a hold harmless agreement with Certificate of Liability Insurance to use portions of the East Main Street right-of-way for the installation and maintenance of a second-story balcony for 126 East Main Street, which was the Schamberger Opera House. I so move.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Love, a second by Councilman Alexander. Comment by Councilman Overton.
Somebody said the state wasn't gonna approve this. Is
I
that
was
true?
about to ask engineering if they had a
Okay.
comment to add to this, so. Did you have something to say?
Well,
Nicole?
I did speak with our city engineer, Nick Tuttle, late this afternoon, and we are still awaiting word from the state. They've sent it to their council. We haven't heard back from them. And what Mr. Tuttle and I discussed was perhaps it would be best to defer this matter until we get some word from the state, because it does us no good to approve this if the state's not going to allow it.
I withdraw my second.
Okay, withdraw your second, withdraw your motion. Okay, motion to defer by Councilman Hayes. Did you make, no, he withdrew. You
I
made,
favor him too.
okay. Motion to defer by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilman Alexander? Okay. All in favor of deferring? Okay, thank you. It will be deferred. Mr. Wagner, did you want to say something? Did you need to add anything to it, or we covered it? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry we didn't address you. Next is item 11, Resolution R1910-58, Vice Mayor Camp.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution approving the city maintain right-of-way on South Water Avenue located adjacent to 817 South Water Avenue for the installation of landscaping by the adjacent property owner and to enter into an indemnity and hold harmless agreement for the use of the right-of-way. So moved.
Motion by Vice Mayor Camp, second by Councilman Overton. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is Resolution R1910-58. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Passes unanimously. Item 12 is Resolution R1911-59, Councilman Fennell.
This is a resolution appointing Mayor Paige Brown and David Kellogg, Gallatin Public Utilities Representative, to the Sumner County Urban Growth Boundaries Coordinating Committee. Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilwoman Love. Is there any discussion?
I think I know the duties of this, but can you explain it to me?
Well, the urban growth boundaries is a 20-year plan, and so we have been, Mr. McCord has really been leading the charge for probably 6 months now to get all the county back together to look at urban growth boundaries. And as I mentioned to you all before, we will certainly be bringing you our proposed map. But the purpose of the County Coordinating Committee is for representatives from all the cities to vote on all the urban growth boundaries for the other cities. So I think, I think we have a really good strategy for our city, but each city will have representatives looking at the entire county's urban growth boundaries and what other cities want to do as well. And I thought, as a city with the largest municipally owned utility, we are entitled to a representative from that utility, and so I thought that Mr. Kellogg would be a great representative as someone who actually knows utility infrastructure. And then it is the in the state legislation, it is designed so that the mayor is the representative, but it is to be confirmed by the council, and so I'm willing to do that unless somebody wants to jump up and down and do it besides me. So. And they're,
Go ahead.
and they're actually, if anyone's interested, the coordinating committee is drawn up by the state as to how it's structured, which basically is a representative, the mayor from each city, and then the largest city has some additional representatives. The largest chamber has a representative. The largest, a couple of other things have some representation. So some cities, like Hendersonville, will have a lot more representation than we will by virtue of its size. So, but beyond that, it's pretty equal. So with that, motion and second, any further questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. That concludes the regular agenda and brings us now to other business. I know we have two department heads that have other business this evening. Does anyone on this council have other business?
Mayor, I
before
just
we go
got
there?
one question. You can probably answer this because Nick's not here. Do y'all have an update on when the red light's going in at Miracle?
I do not have an answer
Because
on
they have
that. I
another accident down there
apologize.
today, so I'm just curious. I've got a lot of calls on it.
Yeah, he doesn't know either.
But it's
so
ordered, correct? Y'all
We'll
know
find
that?
out and let you know. Yeah, I think that was the deal, was actually getting it in. Did you know anything, Mr. Fenton?
I think James Hunt with Economic Development Agency.
The holdup right now has been the order time for the masts themselves. It was about a 6-month process to order those and get those in. So we're probably about 4.5 to 5 months out from having that installed at this point in time.
Thanks, James.
Anyone else on the council with other business?
I just want to thank either Zach, I don't know who did that.
Zach and Richard are both at a conference, so they're not here,
Okay.
but
But anyway, for fixing that road on Haddon Track, that big ditch, they went out there and,
they got your dip.
yeah,
Sweet.
sweet sailing there. My veins don't fall in my eyes, thank you.
We'll be sure to pass it on to him. Thank you.
Fall in your eyes when you hit the ball?
Not now.
Anyone else? All right. Department heads, actually, we must have 3 with the business. Mr. Fenton, you go first.
Very quickly, thank you. On next Tuesday at 11:30 in the morning, out in the Industrial Center across the street from Beretta USA, we're going to have the groundbreaking for Archer Data Center. I just want to make sure all of you knew that you were invited to that. I've received RSVPs from some of you, but I just want to make sure that all of you have that invitation. Thank you.
And I apologize for not mentioning that earlier. It was not on my calendar. So. Ms. Johnson?
Hello, council members. You have at your desk a copy of the calendar for recruitment of department heads, specifically for the Director of Human Resources, and also a copy of the job advertisement. The process at this point requires that the HR Director review the pool to screen for those applicants that meet the minimum requirements. So tonight, I've handed out a list, a spreadsheet, and we have 32 candidates who meet the minimum requirements out of 64 candidates total for the position. The expert panel will meet 3 times this week and hopefully cull down those candidates to the interview pool and recommend those to the council at your next meeting. We have a very diverse pool, and I apologize, but I do need to add a name to the list that you have tonight, and I'll get those the list updated and to you. We had 2 people with the very same last name, and they were both removed today, and one should have stayed on. So I've checked that out, and it was just brought to my attention by someone who knew someone in the pool.
Any questions for Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Nichols?
I'm passing around a copy of a form, State Form CT-0253. Anytime we issue debt, we're required to present this form to council. This is just a report on our grant anticipation note that we signed on the 25th. It's at an interest rate of 3.48%. So far, we have not drawn any money on that, but it's there in case we do need it. And I'm just required to present it to you. Thank you.
Did the state ever pay our?
They did.
That's good to hear.
There was a little bit of a delay due to the year-end process, and then there was one payment where they had questioned some expenses, and we had to provide some additional information, and that's what had held them up for a little bit, but they have,
Great news.
they have.
Anyone else have any other business this evening? Okay, I see no one, so we will move on to public recognition on non-agenda related items. This is the time of the meeting you can come forward and talk about items that aren't on the night's agenda. Again, introduce yourself and give us your address. You'll
Frank
have 5 minutes.
Marchese, 589 Harris Lane. I just wanted to publicly thank the Public Works and Engineering Department for coming out and cleaning up the mess left by the contractors who Site 1 at the end of Harris Lane with the tires, and they had a whole crew out there sweeping not physically sweeping, but like going down and picking up all the garbage along the whole stretch of the street. which is greatly appreciated. I'd also like to thank the police department for their increased presence on the street, hoping to cut down some of the speeders. Unfortunately, people are still making illegal left-hand turns out of my street. They're even going up the do not enter side now. But I know, Jimmy, it's being taken care of. I understand that. But I just want to publicly thank them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak under public recognition before we conclude the meeting?
Motion adjourned.
Up, down. Okay, seeing no one, we will declare public recognition on non-agenda related items closed. And with that, I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion to adjourn, a second. Before I take a vote, I'm going to remind everyone that I do have no soliciting stickers if you'd like to come get one. With that, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Opposed? Everyone have a lovely evening. Thank you for being here tonight.
You know what kind of, nobody's ever said no to that, but had it done.